days, but
Like cold horrible?
like freezing cold and raining the entire time, except for my last day. Which time? It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to welcome you all to this meeting of the Sustainability Advisory Board. It's Monday, April 4th, and I'm guessing we have no public comment tonight, so we'll move right on to approval of the minutes from March 7th meeting. I would entertain a motion to accept those.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Okay. All in favor of approving the minutes as written?
Aye.
Okay, thanks. And next on our agenda tonight is a presentation on, it's actually an update on Shop Local Oshkosh, and we have Emmy with Shop Local Oshkosh here to share with us. So feel free to join us at the table or at the podium and just share away.
Excellent. Well, I don't know how many of you have heard about the Shop Local Oshkosh initiative. A few of you, maybe.
I'm the one who brought you.
Oh, perfect.
I met you guys.
Oh, yes.
And I dragged you into this.
Thank you. Yes, you met Jean.
I did.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah. No, it was
Excellent.
great.
Well, I'll give you just a quick history.
Well, who are you again?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Emmy with Shop Local Oshkosh.
Local Oshkosh?
Shop Local
Oh,
Oshkosh.
shop. Okay.
And we basically help support local businesses. I'll give you just a really quick history. I actually have owned a business, a local business that I've worked with small businesses for about 13 years now, and saw a lot of them struggle with marketing issues. And so I thought there must be a way to have a cooperative, shared community style marketing program, and that's essentially who we are. And I did hand out some information, but we try to simplify the online marketing world. As most business owners know, there's Facebook and there's a million other tools out there, what's going to work for them, and we try to simplify all of that for them. We're also basically a community media network, just like WBAY, TV2. They reach thousands of local people on their channel. We reach, in the Oshkosh area, about 38,000 people now on our Shop Local Oshkosh channels. You can find us on Facebook, so if you search Shop Local Oshkosh, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google+, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, mobile app, texting. I'm sure I missed a few, but kind of the big ones. So we reach local people through those tools. And we also try to do advertising a little differently in that we do recommendation style marketing. So instead of a business having to advertise themselves saying, come in, we have great coffee, what we do is we go into the business and then we take pictures, we take video, and then we talk about and recommend those local businesses. So it's just a great way to find out what's all out there. There's so many different businesses. How do you know what's out there and the fun things to do, events and whatnot. So hopefully all that makes sense. On the back of that sheet, it just describes a little bit more too about some of our different marketing platforms. We're working on rolling out our online marketplace, which is kind of like, I guess you could compare it to an Amazon or Etsy, where people have the convenience of online shopping, but it's only local products, gift certificates, and whatnot. We are also rolling out our new mobile app. You can find Shop Local or Shop Local Communities app on Google Play and iOS for all the different kinds of smartphones. And it's just another tool to be able to find local businesses and deals and whatnot. What I'm really excited about is we're just going to be launching our Shop for Humanity program, which really ties the community with businesses and nonprofits. So we already have thousands of nonprofits signed up in schools and whatnot. So the neat thing is when our new mobile app launches at the end of April here, schools and the churches and humane societies will be encouraging their supporters to download and use the Shop Local app, because they're buying gas and groceries and going out to eat anyways. Why not earn money? Because businesses then decide that they give back to these people who are shopping local, and then the customers actually decide where they want those funds to be donated, whether it's their son's football fundraiser or the school or their church or whatnot. So it's a great way that it's a win-win for everyone in the community. We also have, actually in April, we're printing basically a passport or a directory of our local members, which will also have specials and whatnot as well. The big thing really too is our social media. So for people that want to find us on Facebook, we try to basically educate people on why it's important to shop local, what the implications are, especially now with this Shop for Humanity program. It's shopping with a cause, supporting our local businesses with an extra cause besides just local businesses. It's the nonprofits as well. As well as let them know events that are going on and how to find tickets, and just support our different local businesses. And then really some of the points too are talking about each of the local businesses and how they're unique to the community, and how Oshkosh is such a unique community with all of these different businesses. So I know I've said that all very fast. I don't know if you have questions or if that all makes sense.
I definitely have questions.
Okay.
But first, I want to thank you very much for taking the time
Thank you.
and coming to tell us about your program, because I don't know if you've had a chance to read the sustainability plan for the city, but
A little bit, yes.
okay,
Yeah.
but you guys are in there, not you in particular,
Right,
but keeping our money local is definitely part of our community's vibrancy and sustainability. So thank you for doing it, because we've been over the years working on that. So it's great that somebody is doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I am wondering, are you a franchise of something larger then? Because like I see you have a website, Shop Local Communities. So I didn't know if that was what.
That's a good question. I
Yeah.
actually started it myself.
Okay.
I'm Appleton, originally New London, so pretty close to the Fox Valley. So I started it myself. It's not a franchise.
Okay.
We only have the communities of Oshkosh, Neenah, Menasha, Greenville, Hortonville, Appleton, Coquana, Little Chute, Kimberly, De Pere, Green Bay, and then Door County we're just launching into as well. So
Okay.
it's just the main 41 corridor for right now.
Okay, oh, that's excellent. And so when you have like Shop Local Oshkosh, is there a link somewhere in there that would link you then to these other communities if you wanted to broaden what your idea of local is? Then?
If you wanted to, yes.
Okay, well that's really cool.
Yeah, some people live in Oshkosh but work in Appleton and vice
Right.
versa. So
Sure.
obviously, local where you live, work, play. The goal is to keep the money there.
Right, and do you have a cap on the business size of what you consider local?
That's a good question. We really go into each situation a little bit differently because each business is different. There are locally owned franchises where the owner actually works, 80 hours a week.
Right.
And so obviously we consider that there's local, but each business is a little bit different. We kind of have a few ways that we go about
Okay,
about
okay.
that.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's a sensitive thing. You want to have membership. You
Correct,
don't want to exclude
correct.
people, but then who is local and who is not?
Correct.
And,
The main thing is really the business owner and how much they're involved locally and all of that.
okay, I have two more questions, but others might have questions.
No, go for it.
Go for it, you're doing great.
Are you competing with TV and radio, and how does that work?
That's a good question. Honestly, no, I don't feel that we're competing. We're actually in the works of talking to different TV and radio stations to hopefully partner up, because we don't do TV, we don't do radio, but we would actually like to be able to offer maybe a cooperative marketing program for those medias as well. So I don't feel, and we haven't gotten the feeling yet from any of those medias that we are competition. A lot are interested.
So how are you marketing this?
It's mainly, that's a good question. So it's mainly on all of our social media pages that we have the audience of over 38,000 people. And through our mobile app, and then through a lot of, it's mainly online and mobile marketing. Although we would like to get more into TV and radio too.
So your demographic is younger then, that you're reaching?
Yes and no. I mean, even with Facebook, we have a wide demographic, but each media, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook has its own demographic, but I
Right.
would say our average is, 18 to probably 60 or so, although we have throughout outside of that.
Okay. So in this passport that you are working towards having, is that right? It's coming out. Are you going to highlight or have an icon there for green or sustainable businesses?
Ooh, I hadn't thought about that
The
yet.
seed has been planted.
I like that idea. I mean, we're always open to ideas like that. I think that's fantastic.
Okay.
We'll maybe have to discuss that.
Yeah, we would be happy to, because you in particular, and one of our other board members, Michelle, who's not here this evening, have worked on this. So thought has already been put into it, and you guys have the infrastructure to make happen what we have only dreamed about.
Well, I'll tell you, I love collaboration. I'm all about it. I love any kind of feedback, so I'd love to talk.
Okay, and kind of, I guess to dovetail into that, I think, and maybe you have this in addition to, so if these are mobile apps, it might happen kind of organically anyhow, but our city has really focused on building neighborhoods and neighborhood identity, and it would be really cool if there was one way of geographically looking within neighborhoods, what are the businesses of your neighborhood? So so that's just a suggestion as well, and it's just a matter of, another column in the table, essentially. So.
And that actually might work well because we have a map, so that's one of the ways maybe you could zero in, but yeah, there's a lot of
but
other
that then
ideas.
gives neighborhoods the opportunity to identify and celebrate, here are the businesses that we have here, and, because there are people who might not know there are businesses, like there are home-based businesses and stuff, but they might be part of your shop local, and neighbors next door might not even know it.
True. And maybe even the passport might be good to do based on neighborhood.
Yeah.
That would make sense, too.
What do you think? Yeah. Liz likes that idea.
Perfect.
So,
Perfect.
yeah, I think it would be really cool because it would help re-emphasize this neighborhood identity, which it's important. So,
Yeah,
a couple of ideas there. I'm sure others have questions or ideas too. Well, I might have taken
Other
the
thoughts,
some
anyone?
people's sales.
I'm curious if you interact at all with Gallery Walk.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Do you interact at all with Gallery Walk?
No, actually, is it Cassie, right? I have her on my calendar to talk to as well. We're trying to work with chambers and bid districts and other districts to be able to offer our tools to as well as an added value to their members. And we're trying to figure out how that all looks. So that's definitely, she's on my list to get in contact with soon.
And how long have you been doing this? Have you been at this so far?
Shop local, well, it's been rumbling around in my brain for probably about 5 years, but I think we officially launched our first market, which was Appleton, in 2014, January 2014. I think Oshkosh, we started in June of, it must have been 2014. We had started working with the chamber a little bit on being able to offer things to their members. So, a few years.
Well, pretty new company. That's awesome.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your stuff on, like, the stickers you have on doors as people walk into a business are so slick that they don't look local.
Okay. Oh, really? That's maybe a good thing, or
I don't know, because I've seen it, I've kind of like, that's just some, like, whatever, you go to a website, you pay
Sure.
$25, you put the sticker on the window.
That's funny.
So I'm so happy to know that this is truly a local effort.
Well, hopefully you'll be seeing, we're putting up new Shop Local Oshkosh posters specifically, so it does say Oshkosh on
Okay.
it. So, a little more
Yeah.
community branding. So,
I like your motto, the social media is the new word of mouth.
yes, that is,
Very true.
yes. We try to use that to our advantage, for good, to spread the positive.
That's right.
Do you work with organizations, groups, other than shopping, other than retail?
Definitely, most definitely, and we're actually, I don't know if I should say this, but we're looking at rebranding to have less of a shop local retail feel to more just buy local, support local. We're trying to figure out what that looks like. But yeah, we definitely work with any businesses. Some of our bigger clients too are, like, we work with Glacier Dental, they're phenomenal, and Fletcher Chiropractic, so we work with a lot of trades type businesses as well. So anything really local that we can help drive traffic and business their way.
Excellent.
I like support local as opposed to shop local because
Yeah,
it's a different dynamic.
it is,
So-
it really is. It's
Yeah.
funny how one word can change it all.
Oh, yeah,
So.
that's great.
You brought business cards?
I have some, yes. I can
Leave some.
I will.
Yes, please.
Perfect.
Okay, anybody else have anything? Thank you so much. This is really awesome. This is really exciting that you're this far along with this, and thank you, Samara, for bringing her up to date on where we'd been, and
Sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Would you be able to send me this in digital form so that we can promote this on the sustainability website?
Sure, certainly, and I can get you whatever details you need.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Emmy.
Well, that's exciting. Okay, our next presentation is going to be from Dr. Feldman's class at UWO. One of the student projects is Urban Agriculture, Beekeeping Outreach and Ordinance. And we have Heidi and Kaylee here tonight to help us understand where they're at with this. So, and there's a presentation, I take it.
Thank you.
We could turn down the lights probably. Good, thank you.
Oh, much better. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Heidi,
I'm Kaylee.
and tonight we just want to talk to you about proposing a beekeeping ordinance in the city of Oshkosh. This is actually a part of our senior project, and we've gotten pretty far with it, so we wanted to share it with you guys. Just a really quick outline for you. We will be talking about the benefits of urban agriculture as a whole, colony collapse disorder within bee populations, food security, economics, cities, Oshkosh in particular, the ordinance, our petition, and then discussion and questions.
So to start out for kind of why we are doing this, there are many benefits within urban agriculture. The biggest one for our location would be the education and the nutritional benefits that we can receive, not only from just the idea of urban agriculture, but more specifically through specific projects like beekeeping, and also the community benefits, gardening, bringing groups together. It really kind of ties in the idea of community, and then also within the project, working with other groups about using different vacant lots around the cities, just to kind of incorporate everybody.
Additionally, we kind of thought about the city as an ecological niche itself, but also beekeeping, urban agriculture as a whole, first off, would provide ecological functions such as increased biodiversity, nutrient recycling, and microclimate control within the city and not just in rural areas that we've seen previously. So first off, why bees? We're proposing a beekeeping ordinance, and it's kind of a specific species to dive into, but they're really important to our food security and multiple things like that. But first off, their populations have been in decline, and this can be linked back to colony collapse disorder, or CCD. I don't know if you've heard that term before. But additionally, besides their collapse, bees provide a lot of global and local economic benefits. So just a really quick background, colony collapse disorder, it's been a widespread phenomenon not only in the Midwest or the United States, it's been global, a lot seen in the UK as well. They've been in steep decline since 2007, and a lot of this decline can be linked back to pesticide use in crop fields and large agricultural productions.
So to kind of get into how we are impacted by colony collapse disorder, this is a graph. This was from the year of 2014 going into 2015, so almost pretty much the most recent data they have. And as you can see, Wisconsin is one of the states that has the highest colony loss. So that's us right here. That's not good, which is why we're proposing this ordinance, because this is a really big issue that not only impacts us, but globally as well. So the biggest problem we have with colony collapse disorder is food security. As you can see, nearly 75% of the food crops require pollination. And then locally, 1/3 of every bite we eat is linked to a bee pollinator. So pretty much 1/3 of your diet daily is affected by this. The biggest crops in Wisconsin that have been affected by this are cherries, apples, and cranberries. And sometimes the seasonal ones, like pumpkins and squash, those also have been affected greatly in sales. And then to kind of link it to a little bit larger perspective, we are also losing alfalfa, which we are the second-ranked dairy state, which this has significant economics for our production in milk and beef. So it ties into kind of a greater global scale as we fall behind California. And then it also increases the trade deficit because we are shipping things around, which also has negative impacts with our resource use and so on and so forth.
So just to give a little perspective, not just in the United States, but in Wisconsin specifically, in 2012, Wisconsin apiaries harvested 4.35 million pounds of honey, which was worth $8.87 million. So this provides a really substantial impact on our local economy here in Wisconsin. So we made the point that bees are really important. They're a huge part of our diet, but why do we need them in the city? So bees in the city really means less travel for them. It means increased pollen collection for them, which means more honey production.
What?
Yes.
Talking about less travel for the bees, and if they're in the city, they have to travel a shorter distance than if they're out on the edge of a field?
We were kind of thinking the vegetation that they'd be looking at in the city would be local gardens or landscapes, so they wouldn't necessarily leave the city to forage. They'd be right in the city center. Okay. So here in the city, they wouldn't be pollinating as many agricultural crops as they previously would. That takes them away from a lot of the heavy pesticide usage that is used in crop fields. Not all of them, but a lot of them seen in fields such as alfalfa are really playing a big factor for bees. So it also could provide a more diverse diet. They'll have a lot of different gardens and different foraging spots, which will also provide a longer foraging season for them. So a study done in New York looked at 19 urban gardens in the area, and they found that 92% of those crops from the gardens were dependent on bee pollination in order to set fruit or to seed. So this is really important to our local landscape as well as aesthetics and local food sources. And besides the production of honey, of bees, it's a really good opportunity for education of all ages. Everyone can learn from the growth of a garden, ages 2 to unlimited. So why Oshkosh in particular? We would like to bring bees to the city, but why is Oshkosh a good place for them? I talked a little bit with Danny Stoley, the founder of Growing Oshkosh, and she explained that there are 10,000 students in the Oshkosh area school district. Half of them are on free or reduced lunch, and overall 20% of households in Oshkosh receive food assistance and or benefits.
So also to tie this in, besides the fact of having fresh local food and educational opportunities and providing bees as kind of like a global tool, locally we looked into the different groups at the farmers market that either support beekeeping in their communities because a lot of them travel, or are beekeepers themselves, or would have interest in supporting or using bees in their business. A lot of people associate bees with production and with honey, but there are a lot of other resources that bees provide. The biggest one is beeswax, which is used quite frequently in the different shops that are at the farmers market. Then it goes on to bee pollen, royal jelly, propolis, and honey. And each one has quite a few different uses. So, and some of these are besides beeswax, are also at the local farmers market as well. So it's a really big local economic product that also ties into keeping it local. So
So why do we want to do this now? It was proposed last year. Why do we want to start this right away? We found that the cities of Appleton, Fond du Lac, Grand Chute, Madison, Milwaukee, Eau Claire, and several more have all passed urban beekeeping ordinances. And we really, both of us really think that Oshkosh is a progressive city. We're doing a lot with sustainability, and we'd really like to get this into our sustainability plan for the entire city. So we really want to get on this and get caught up and even further ahead than we have been. So yeah, like I said, we look at us as a progressive city with different lead characteristics, UW Oshkosh being the third most sustainable campus, so we think it all ties in together really nicely.
So here we have a draft ordinance. It's kind of a mix of quite a few that we put together that we thought would be most representable for our area, and talking with people from the city and how bees would best benefit our area. So this is something it's linked in our PowerPoint, but it's quite a lengthy one, but we figure there's obviously going to be things that are going to be taken out once it's, observed and looked at. And
11 pages long?
Yes.
Okay.
At the end.
You were thorough.
But don't panic. The end has a lot of, these pages take up a lot of space. We found in most ordinances, they required that they went to all of their neighbors to have acceptance from them. So there's a graph in here, or more so a chart. So, that takes up a whole page. And then the last one is you have to provide that your land is beneficial for bees, because we don't want people to start opening all these colonies and having the colonies fail. It defeats the purpose of proposing this. So, the whole last page is pretty much an empty graph for people to, draw what they have. We pretty much include just about everything. We have a sample letter that people can use to display to their neighbors or send their neighbors saying, hey, this is what we're going to be doing. If you object, you can send letters here and things like that. And then the rest is the nuts and bolts of the actual ordinance. So,
A lot of work. A lot of work.
Well done.
Appreciate it, yeah. Do you talk about the type of bee? For instance, mason bees are smaller, but supposedly even more effective than pollinators.
We talked a little bit, I think each of us talked to people. There is a gentleman, the last name is Dzinski, and he lives in Ripon, and he actually sells bees for beekeepers in the area. And he can actually make the best recommendation for the best fit. The ones that he has are not aggressive bees. That was a major concern when we kind of pulled the city. A lot of people were concerned about the aggressiveness. So he can make the best recommendation for your setup. And she also talked to an aviarist at Lawrence.
Yeah, he keeps bees for Lawrence over the winter season, and he brings in his bees in Appleton, and they're the less aggressive strand. I can't exactly remember the name of the species, but you can definitely look at your options and see who do we need that makes, does the most pollination but is the least aggressive or threatened by human presence. So those are all different case studies that we can look at and kind of play off of, and it's less work for us, and we can see what others have done and see what has worked.
In the ordinance, do you specify anything about how many or which kind of bee you'd recommend?
We don't have that in the ordinance. We do not.
We have the location. There's a size location, how big your lot has to be, and then you're only allowed 2 per lot, I guess, or 2 per your land. And then it's also, you have to have specific requirements. There has to be a fence or a barrier that is at least 6 feet high, and you have to have a water source that continually produces moving water, because otherwise bees will swarm at your neighbor's pool or different things like that where they should not be. So also information in here too, I believe, about who to call if you were to notice a bee swarm, because we don't want people trying to take that on by themselves. So we have, I think, resources in here about who to contact for that.
Do you have recommendations for elevated flyways, so people keeping bees at a higher level so that you're not walking in the flyway of a bee?
That is the
Quality?
6-foot fence rule.
Yeah, that one, I did see a lot of studies done on rooftop beekeeping, which we didn't get that much into, but there's a lot of literature that supports rooftop. You know, it's out of the way, you're not, you know, with kids or with any people down on the
Right.
ground, and they'll fly above where their hive is.
Right.
They'll pollinate, and they have to go back up, so it's much less of an interaction.
Right, because that's, I mean, the biggest danger is when you walk between a bee and the door to get into the hive. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're in that 10-foot by 2-foot span, that's where the problem is. The other rest of the planet is not a problem, so.
We have also recommendations in here from a previous ordinance about different methods that you can use. So if you're going to use vegetation, your vegetation has to be at least 4 feet high starting, and then has to take off from there. And then fences and tree lines and different things like that that are accessible for people depending on the lot that they have.
A lot of really good work. Did you talk to any of the Appleton or Fond du Lac about problems they might have had when they put theirs in?
The gentleman I talked to in Appleton more so talked about problems with their own ordinance. They needed a 400-foot radius approval from all of their neighbors, so that included almost 20 neighbors. And his issue was that the city sent out the notification that there would be a beehive in the area, and he said it looked more like a warning, so people were really kind of threatened by that, and he said it wasn't very educational. So if we went at this, he wants us to take a really educational approach and say, this is, you know, why we want a beehive, this is, you know, where it's going to be, and it's not going to, you know, you're not going to have 1,000 bees traveling through your backyard. So his main problem in Appleton was that people weren't educated on the issue, and it really became kind of a problem for them. So there
Like a
was
sexual predator warning in the neighborhood.
yeah. Yeah.
And then Erica, the other girl who was in our group, she talked to the fire chief in Fond du Lac, and he is actually the bee swarm removal expert in our area. And so he was talking about, you know, different ways on how to kind of prevent the scare of bee swarming, and his was a lot of educational opportunities on that. So, and he worked with the required in the ordinance, you have to take a 7-hour class to be able to have a beehive. And he is actually one of the presenters there and educates why bees swarm and how to prevent it and what to do if you see it and things like that. So that was his main focus.
And we have one of the largest, so Honey Beware, Wayne, whose last name I can't remember, but they're up in
Yeah.
Greenville.
Yeah.
Greenville, right. And they're one of the largest bee distributors in the country. So, like, people come from all over the Midwest to pick up their hives from there and to buy bee things. So it would make sense for us to have, you know, a neighboring community that supports bees when we have one of the largest local businesses. That's what they're doing.
It's something people can do themselves, but it's pretty complex. Someone came to Rotary who keeps bees and developed his own hives and builds his own hives and so on. And it's not a simple thing. It's not just buying a box of bees and putting them out.
Yeah, and it's definitely, it can be, like we went over the economic benefits, but it's
Sure.
huge for, you know, hobby beekeeping or just learning for kids. It would be really cool to not maybe have this on the school grounds, but have it somewhere like a field trip or something like that.
Sure.
That'd be really awesome. We have a little picture. Oops. Is that connected? Did it go away?
Technical difficulties.
We just had a little example showing what a backyard beekeeping set would look like, and it's pretty small, but like you said, it's really complex, so the 7-hour class would really do a lot for that.
Oh, yeah.
And I think just getting the ordinance passed would go a long way in letting people know, hey, this is something that's, you know, it's popular right now, and it's really great for your community. I think that it would draw a lot of interest.
Well, I'm enthusiastic about it, but
Okay.
it is complex, and I can see there are all sorts of questions asked some of the time.
As a beekeeping family, we don't keep bees in the city, obviously, but it's not a cheap hobby. And so people don't, you know, you don't go into it at first because you're going to be getting free honey, but it is a wonderful opportunity to learn about the insects, to learn about food production, to be able to share that. So,
Yeah, there's a little bit of an example I found on Google. It's kind of hard to see up there, but you can see the hives stacked, so it can go vertical. It doesn't take up a ton of space.
it looks like they have deer fencing around it or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also discussed in the ordinance, the requirement would be at least 7 hours of the course in at UW Fond du Lac. That's the only place right now that offers the course. And then we also discussed future options for education on why this is such an issue. At the university, there's an intro to environmental problems, and they do a unit on beekeeping, but we'd also like to propose in the future potentially having a class at the university about bees and urban agriculture to kind of tie in this idea. Also, we talked about kind of like the growing Oshkosh and different community events having educational opportunities for bees, just because we want to be sure to include all different categories. We don't want just UWO students. We want the community kids, everybody to kind of know about this. It's a big issue. So, and we kind of jumped ahead here too, but we also had a petition that we passed around, and this is the first year the class has been offered, so this was a flop for us. We used a website called change.org, which we thought we were circulating and having people sign, but because they signed electronically, it does not count as a signature. So we had over 230 signatures, but not all of them were from the Oshkosh area. So we removed all those and we had about 50, and then take away all 50 because none of them counted. And then we circulated actually by hand a petition, and we had over 50 signatures from different groups and neighborhoods from the city. So,
Have you attended any of the Saturday farmers markets at Maryland Middle School to get signatures?
we did not go there.
Okay.
We wanted to,
Yeah.
but we're not a little bit of time.
I emailed everybody who is there that was agricultural or like a product based, and I emailed everybody there, and I heard back from 4 different vendors there, and half of them already keep bees, but they're not local, so I couldn't really keep them in here. And then the other 2, they use bee products, so, and they had interest in it and support, but they're not local groups. So,
Are there any more questions? We laid a lot of information out there.
I just have a question for the board that they posed. What would your anticipated next steps be with the information that they have provided? Where do you think this information would move, or how would the Sustainability Advisory Board react to this information? How would you use it moving forward?
You're our leader.
Well, do we know if we have anybody who's an advocate on the board, on the council?
After tomorrow, we might.
That's true.
I worked with Lori Palmery a lot. Palmery. She kind of really helped us with the ordinance and the petition and everything, because we didn't know how to do any of this before. So we talked with her a lot, and she is very excited about this project. And I guess we'll have to see what tomorrow holds, but she is very excited about it.
Well, for starters, I would like to read what the 11 pages you've read, because I'm not going to say, yes, we want to do this, because I need to know what I'm saying yes to, because I'm sure we'll have suggestions. And then I think the following step after that is for our board to officially support you, so that it can be taken to Common Council. Is that correct?
Yes, I think the appropriate action would be for us to circulate it and put it on maybe as a workshop after our next meeting or something, so we can have taken a look at it and then discuss it.
Right.
And then make any necessary changes if we see any, which maybe we won't. And then it would go to our city manager to send to the council. So
you guys have a deadline, you have to graduate and stuff. What do you need from us so that you can say, we've done our project and we have reached a certain, like, what's your, I mean, getting this passed before you graduate will not happen, let me tell you that. Even if the council was on board, it just won't happen, because this is a very slow-moving beast here. And that's how democracy works. It's slow intentionally, because if you do rash things, then you might regret it later. So what do you guys need to do for your project to be completed?
Our main goal, I guess, was just to get here with an ordinance and lay the groundwork. We want to lay the groundwork because there's a senior seminar class every semester.
Right.
So I think you're going to see some new faces with the same project, and I want them to really push it forward. But
Excellent.
for us, we wanted to get here and we want to, lay the groundwork and have the ordinance crafted. And we'll be here again in a couple weeks presenting to you guys. So
Yeah.
yeah.
This is like the first step, and then hopefully, after we kind of see where it's going with things, we really just want to keep it moving forward. So we think it's really beneficial for everybody in the community. So.
Well, now you have your presentation on tape that you can show to anybody in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you're sharing the presentation and the document with us electronically, is that correct?
Thank you.
Be sure the Google document is made public and not just shared with her.
Okay.
And you need to be sure the settings on it are completely public, or else we won't be able to access it either.
I'll do that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think
It will save you a lot of emails.
Okay, well, thank you so much. That was pretty awesome. And I must say, it's kind of fun having some current and past professors on our board that can kind of, ask all those right questions for us, too, as we go through. The other presentation updates on here,
They're not happening.
okay.
I did it just in case.
Okay, so we were covered if they were prepared, and we're covered for future. Okay, well then we will be going from 5 down to 6 and discuss digital distribution of monthly meeting materials. I guess I should ask first, did anybody have anything else on beekeeping that you wanted to share just with the board, or?
After we read it, they'll probably have
After,
a whole list of
okay.
things.
I'm
Yes,
happy
I-
to see this coming back to life and that somebody's taken ownership of it, because we can't take ownership of it. It has to be public-led, and so I'm happy the public is leading it.
Yes,
Go public.
yes.
Go citizens.
Those bees aren't getting any healthier out there, so we need to
Well,
give
and
them some help.
they can't advocate for themselves.
Exactly. Okay, well then we'll move on to number 6, discuss digital distribution of monthly meeting materials.
Aye.
Sorry. Hold on just a second. This has come up several times through the years. As a veteran of this board, I can tell you it comes and goes and comes and goes. And ideally, we would receive everything digitally in our entire world all the time to save the trees. But we also sometimes feel more comfortable looking at something on paper and being able to go back and find it easily. And so what do we wish to propose here for our board, for our monthly meeting materials? Any suggestions?
You mean changes or what?
Well, right now, we get it digitally, and we get a full packet each month. I guess what I would recommend would be that we continue to get it digitally, of course, but that individuals could, and we could decide if we want to make it opt-in or opt-out, but not everybody has to receive the written packet, but I want it to be available for those who do. And that's not just for our current board members, but for anybody in the future, too. So do we want to just make a proposal that we allow people to make that choice individually, or do you have other suggestions?
I have a question for Liz. How much time does it take you to put these packets together?
I actually don't do it.
You don't?
Well, I do to a certain degree. I get it ready, and then support staff will make copies and take care of putting it in for mail. But I would say probably at the most 30 minutes.
Okay.
Between,
Will it
and
take
touch-
more time if we have an opt-in, opt-out thing, as opposed to everybody gets it? Because then you have to figure out who gets it and who doesn't get it.
Yeah. I think ideally it would be across the board where everyone would be treated the same. However, I think that if there's larger documents or like a planning document that you need to review and add comments to, we'd be more than happy to mail that out. But I think for staffing purposes, it'd be easiest if everyone was on a level playing field, but ultimately, you know, we do what you want.
Okay, because I know from my work, the paper is not so much the issue as the amount of time it takes to make it.
Yeah.
Send it. And post it.
I like getting the paper, and I think we should just make a standard that if it gets too many pages, we don't do it. I mean, if it's like 6 pages for one document, we read that online. But for these 1 or 2 page things, I think they're really helpful. It's helpful to have the minutes in front of you and to go back and get stuff. And you could print it out yourself, but my printer is not friendly. As friendly as this is.
Yeah.
I'd support Jen. I'd like to have things that I can go back and look at.
Well, Liz, you put it together for sending it to us digitally, right?
Correct, yes. You will always get it digitally.
So does the staff have to do anything additional besides just take a copy of what you've sent to us and run it through the copier?
Correct, that's all they have to do.
So
Yep.
there's not a lot of additional preparation time?
No.
Okay, so it could conceivably be received by individuals without it being a huge staff burden?
Correct, because we're already doing it as is, so.
If we have 3 people getting it instead of 9, besides saving paper, does that save them a little bit of time?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a third?
I think ultimately it's negligible either way, so whatever is easiest for you. I just ask that it
Whatever we feel
stay
good about.
consistent, you know, for if you're going to get packets, you get packets from here on out, and not every month we're flip-flopping back and forth, because that just can get a little hard to keep track of at
Well, we
times.
definitely need a packet at the meeting, right? So
So either
print it
digital
yourself
or you, yeah.
Somebody else sends it to us.
Right.
I think we should all get iPads, and then you don't have to.
I think the city should do that for us. And that's the problem, because we are merely an advisory board, and we don't all have access to that.
I'm
It
just
does make it
adding
difficult.
levity to the financial situation.
Yes, I know. And I know the suggestion was made last month that everybody just bring their iPad, but if you don't have one, that is difficult, so. And even if you do, you might prefer to use paper, which is okay too.
So besides Jan and Lurton, is there anyone else that would prefer to get a hard copy? Everyone else is comfortable with digital, is what I'm hearing? Okay, sounds good.
I have to check with the other 3,
Yep,
but,
I talked to,
okay.
yeah, I'll take care of that.
okay. All righty then. We're down.
I'll always bring an extra copy to the board meeting in case someone doesn't have their
Probably
tablet.
want copies in case somebody watches and then says, I'd like a copy. And
Right, mm-hmm,
Well, and because they're also available online before the meeting.
right, mm-hmm.
And then they become part of the minutes when they're posted or not?
Correct, yep, all the items are digitally.
It's all available somewhere on the city website.
Correct, yep.
All you have to do is find it. And sometimes that becomes a challenge. Okay, we don't need a motion or anything on that because it was merely discussion. Next on our agenda is coordinate spring rain barrel workshop for Saturday, May 14th. How's that going, Liz? Talk to us.
It's going well, with the exception of we're a little bit short on the required funding that we need to be able to, never mind, to offer the workshop. Thank you, Jan. So to date, I have received a updated flyer from Kelly from Fox Wolf Watershed Alliance. I do need to still connect with the Oshkosh Masonic Center to make sure that the facility is available. I was hoping Michelle would be here tonight, but I will follow up with her. I'm working on contracts, so we're all covered from that standpoint for liabilities in the city. And then we just need to promote it. So I'm going to rely heavily on you folks to get that out to your channels. Last time that was really successful. We ended up having over 37 participants at the last Rain Barrel Workshop, which was the largest one that Fox Wolf Watershed has ever offered. So that's pretty exciting to hear. We do have still remaining about $1,300 of the original $2,000 grant that we received to offer this program in Oshkosh. And I also have requested additional funding from the Department of Public Works to see if they would be interested in partnering with the sustainability so we could offer a second rain barrel yet this year. So I'll be able to let you guys know on that hopefully at our next.
What's our maximum enrollment for this?
They typically like to keep them around 30 participants, but they will go up to 50 if need be. So the first 30 participants, though, will receive a reduced registration rate of $35, and then after that first 30, it will be $50.
If they're city residents.
Yes. And then that includes the barrel, the kit, and then they actually build the barrels at the workshop, and then they do get also a 30-minute presentation on the water qualities and the benefit of rainwater or stormwater capture.
So on campus, we have Earth Week coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'd love to be able to promote this during Earth Week as well, because we've got many presentations that are going to be made. So at each introduction of guest speaker or movie or something, this can be announced, and
Perfect.
Eventually.
And that's attended by locals as well as the university.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. Yeah.
And
we have a large fraction of our students live off campus in housing where they could install rain barrels.
Yeah, it would be my hope that the council would approve the sponsorship of the event at their next council meeting, so the second Tuesday in April. They'll be reviewing that. So as soon as that's approved, then I can get you the information and we can start promoting it.
Super.
Great.
So that's about 6 weeks out, but we should have about 4 weeks to promote it.
Correct, yep.
And Earth Week's awesome. That's a great time to promote it. So.
Yeah, it is.
I doubt that we will, well, I know for a fact we won't have any farmers market between now and then or anything.
Correct, yes.
To sign up for. But, okay, anything else on that?
That's all I have on that.
Awesome. Would you like to talk about the Wisconsin 25 by 25 initiative that we all had paperwork in our packets that we all read?
Sure. Well, at the last meeting, I know Kathy from East Central presented that the 2025 initiative was one that was quite prevalent with the communities that are focusing on reducing their greenhouse gas emissions. So I just went out quickly and took a look at their website. I found some information. This dates back actually to 2007 is what I was able to find. And it was really initiated by Governor Doyle, and his goal was to increase the amount of renewable energy that is being produced in the community or in the state. So I think it's 25 by 2025. Yeah. So 25% of the energy would come from renewable sources by 2025. The website, what I found was there was a lot of activity that went on between 2007 and about 2010, and after that there's not very much updates or information on the website. So, this seemed to be very, it was something a lot of people were working towards, and it doesn't seem like there's a lot.
It was in the water, and then the water changed.
I'm not sure. But so anyways, there are quite a few communities, actually. I was surprised, over 140 in the state that have signed on to this resolution, and quite a few within our area, but not Oshkosh. I think Appleton is one. There are quite a few.
Green Lake School District, Green Lake Sanitary District, Green Lake County, they were big. Oh, and the city of Green Lake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there were some grant and funding that was made available to help communities do some planning around how they were going to meet these targets. So I guess today I was just hoping, after your review of the information, if you had additional direction for staff, if we can, contact or reach out to someone from the program to see if they'd be interested in coming and providing a presentation or providing additional information on what the initiative is all about and what's going on currently. I'd be happy to reach out to them. I'm just curious to see, after your review, what your thoughts are.
So honestly, I've not looked at it, so I'm speaking with little knowledge here. But I am familiar with other similar things, and I'm wondering if we had them come in, if at the same time we could have somebody from Midwest Renewable Energy or even Wisconsin Public Service come in and help us understand how this works. Because things are constantly changing and incentives are constantly changing, and it would be good to have kind of a roadmap of what this might look like for our community over the next 5 years.
And along those lines, is there anyone on the council who would be able to, or city manager, speak to why we're not among the 140 who have approved it? Was there some objection unique to Oshkosh that we felt we couldn't do it?
Or maybe it was just never brought to them.
Yeah. But that was very striking. I thought that with our group, the university as positive as it is, that we weren't among them.
Yeah, I kept looking down the O's, and then we just skipped right over where Oshkosh should be.
That's right.
And it would be great if we did have a presentation, if people from city council were invited to come and did come, because ultimately it's going to be up to them, and it's just great to learn it with us instead of us trying to teach them secondhand. Not teach, but share. Right.
Provide the information secondhand, right? When they could be here to ask questions if they had any initially. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, you wonder if the granting is still available.
That was going to be one of my questions to
Most
them.
of it was 2010.
Yeah, it looked like it was there for 2 years from this, but
But there's a lot
that's
of
as-
federal incentives for doing stuff like this too, so it's
oh, and there could be new ones that,
right.
lots of new stuff.
Which is where MREA is really good at keeping track of what those incentives are and guiding at least businesses and households. I don't know about municipalities, but we can ask and find out.
Do you have any contacts
Yeah.
for those agencies that you could send to me so
Sure.
that I can, okay.
Well, I have a feeling this is segueing into number 9, the agenda items for future meeting. That was so smooth, guys.
So good.
Are there other, was there any further direction then on the 25 by 25 initiative?
You have beekeeping, that we would have read that by then and can come back and talk.
Yes, we'll put that on there. So what do you,
And having missed last month's meeting, unfortunately, which is bad timing on my part, where are we going to be with the greenhouse gas emissions?
Yep. We did, the SCB did approve the draft plan that was submitted with one edit to a source, I think, regarding the Kyoto Protocol, which has been updated. I did forward that on to the city manager, and we'll be meeting with him in the next couple of weeks to talk about timeline and next steps. So.
Okay. If I could be there, I don't know, I would love to be. Yeah.
So what about these other student presentations?
Yeah, the students will be doing a final presentation. I believe it's April 23rd, if I remember correctly. I want to say I talked about that.
Well, what about these other ones?
They didn't, they were put on there in case they showed up, so so that they would be on the agenda.
so they would be covered legally if we wanted to talk about it
We're going to
tonight.
hear from them or not?
Yes, we will hear from them on the 23rd. I was just going to make sure that I had the right date for you for final presentation.
That's a special meeting time that we have because of the university needs as opposed to our schedule. We don't need any kind of quorum for that, right? We just
Nope, it'll
have it
just be
purely
noted, so-
informational from,
What time and where?
I believe, I'm just quick looking, I apologize.
Well, and that's something that you can send out to us because you'll have to notice it.
Well, their class runs from 11:30 to 1, so it would be, that would be the times that it would
The
be.
23rd is a Saturday.
Okay. Sorry.
It's okay, yeah,
Yeah.
The 23rd of what?
April.
April.
So Saturday noon, you're basically,
It could be they're doing it on the 23rd because there's a big event that's happening for Earth Week
Well, that's
on the
Earth Week,
23rd.
yeah.
So there's the free school that's happening in Sage Hall where all different types of educational opportunities are offered for free for anyone in the community. Ranging from, it's all kinds of things. Gardening, there's actually, I think there's a beekeeping one, canning, how to tune a bike, all sorts of different things.
Do you say preschool or free school?
Free.
Preschool.
So this is not
Awesome.
specifically for us, this is their.
It is specifically for us, and it's here at City Hall, so that wouldn't be what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I did see the date in an earlier email, so, yeah. It's on my calendar.
I will email out to the group the final date for that. I am neglecting to find it in my notes right now.
when do you leave for your trip? So
It won't be until May, so
Oh, May.
end of May, yep.
Are there other items that we'd like to see on, it doesn't have to be the May meeting, but future meeting that we need to get down, or do we have that covered?
Impervious surface.
Are we ready for that? Okay.
I hope so. I think we need just some different images still, but we can work on that.
Okay. Yeah, we should meet on that. Impervious surfaces. Okay.
I'm not going to promise that I'll have a 2025 presentation for our next meeting, but I'll at least start working on that for some time.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, the beekeeping impervious surfaces, 25 by 25, and that's it, right? Okay, excellent. Well, then, our next meeting will be held on, no, it won't. It's today's. Our next meeting will be held on Monday, May 2nd, right here in this room, beginning at 6:00 PM. And Kim will be running that meeting.
Do I motion to adjourn now?
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Motion to
you
adjourn.
would.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.